What if every single morning you woke up and the first thing you felt was pain? Not, oh, I slept funny kind of pain. More like full body, all over, relentless pain. That's fibromyalgia. That's my reality. And today I want to give you some facts about it and tell you other symptoms that show up with fibromyalgia and tell you how it affects my day-to-day life. But me being crafty, I'm going to do this while we do some crafts about it. Today I set myself quite a bit of a challenge. I'm including multiple different crafts in this video, both old and new to me, so there is plenty to watch for, plenty of different challenges, and I hope you enjoy. And one of the best places for me to start off with being crafter is in Cricut Design Space. So fibromyalgia has 200 plus conditions that coexist with the fibromyalgia. On this sheet I've put down all the ones that affect me. So the ones in the left hand column, they're things that affect me on a day-to-day basis, and the ones on the right generally tend to affect me a couple of times a week, or if I'm in a really bad fibro flare, then it's every day. So I want to do a mix of both of these columns in this piece, just so I can give you an idea of the conditions that I suffer with. So I'm working on a round canvas, so I'm putting in there a circle. I also need a rectangle in there, so I'm just going to put that in. And I'm just going to put the dimensions of the circle in there that I need. So I need it at 11.5 inches. This being a circle, it'll just adjust the number to the side of it. And then the square that I've got that I'm going to put in the centre is for something that I'm going to be sticking in the middle of this plaque. So the round bit is the plaque, and then the centre is the bit that I'm going to put inside it. And I want that to be 4.5 by 6. You need to take the little toggle off it so that it manages it to be a rectangle rather than a square. So I'm going to align them all up, group them together. All these are not in any particular order. On the left, these are the ones that affect me every day, and the ones to the right affect me maybe a couple of times a week, or when I have a fibro flare, they all sort of kick in. There's plenty of others on the extensive list of fibro symptoms that I've not put on here just because I know of the room on the circle, and some of these might not even make it in there, but we'll see what we can do. So I want to put the ones that cause me the majority of the pain every day in larger writing, and the ones that are sort of like in the background that can happen at any time, sort of a smaller font. I quickly realised not all of these are going to fit on the plaque. So I'm choosing from the list on the left of the conditions that affect me the most on a day-to-day basis. Then I'm going to take some conditions that I suffer with quite severely from the right hand list and just adjust those as much as I can to get a nice layout. The ones that I've chosen from the right affect me quite severely, and the severity of all these symptoms of fibromyalgia differ from person to person. The design's coming along quite nicely now, and I'll show you what it looks like soon. So this is the final layout I'm going with. Then we'll get on the Cricut machine to make this work. So for this I'm going to be using the Cricut Smart Vinyl. I find this a real good option when doing small lettering. So let's bring the magic machine out. So we're going to leave that running and let it work its magic. So what actually is fibromyalgia? Let's start with the basics, because I think there's a lot of confusion around this, even amongst the people who are diagnosed with it. Fibromyalgia is a chronic condition. That word chronic, it just means that it's long term, it doesn't go away. It causes widespread musculoskeletal pain, which is basically pain throughout your full body, your muscles, your joints and all the tissues. But it's not just pain, it also brings with it fatigue. I'm a bit tired fatigue, but the kind where you slept for 8 hours and you still feel like you've run a marathon. A lot of people, including myself, spend years being told something is wrong without actually being told what is wrong. I've had doctors turn around to me and say, "It's all in your head." I'm sorry, it isn't. I feel this pain every single day. For a doctor to say it's all in your head makes you feel like you've made it up. And you know you haven't, but they're the professionals and that's what you believe. Or I did anyway. I struggled for years and years before I was finally diagnosed, and it was quite a relief. It was difficult to deal with, and I knew that my symptoms were getting much worse, so much so, I now have to use a mobility scooter. I have to use sticks when I'm walking, and my good days are quite rare. I have a kind of balanced day where I do have pain a lot of the time and I'm tired, things like that. And all these other symptoms which are showing in throughout this project that I'm doing are there every single day. So as you can see, I'm preparing this board with some paint. So I've took a piece of round wood that I bought in a pack from Temu, and I've mixed a colour that I'm happy with acrylic paint and some water, and I've just been painting that on there. I'm now going around the edges. I just want to give it a little bit more depth with some darker paint. I'll put this all around and then we'll seal it with Mod Podge. I did try wood burning on a previous video. This is what I really wanted to do on this project, but I've not built up the skill set for doing wood burning as yet in time for this project. Yep, that just happened, and I'll tell you, it went down the side of my desk and all over my electrics. Luckily, nothing went wrong, but just goes to show you when you're in the moment and you're being a bit clumsy, how quick you can knock something over. Anyway, I was telling you what I was expecting to do with this project and how I wanted it to turn out. So my idea was simple. I wanted to create something that represented fibromyalgia, and I thought the wood and the wood burning would be a good background because they're basically things that we are covering up every single day. We have all these conditions that sit in the background and then all these other things on top of this. You will understand a bit more as time goes on in how this turns out, but just for the wood side of things, I really wanted that burnt look, like it's burnt into you. They're the kind of things that you have to deal with every day. And then we go on further with the rest of the crafts. We'll give you some more ideas of what I'm trying to achieve. And the circle design that I've done, it's not to sort of go around the outside perfectly, it's sort of to go higher up so that I've got enough room here at the bottom to drill some holes. So I'm going to do my best on lining this up. And the top dead centre is this R in the middle of the widespread pane. So I need to line that up at the same time as not going over them holes too close with this writing. I think we're just about in the right place there. And the reason why I'm pulling this back up is just to make sure I've got all those bubbles pushed out. So fibromyalgia, some facts. It affects around 1 in 20 people worldwide, more commonly in women than men. It often comes alongside other conditions such as anxiety, depression, IBS, ADHD. It's rarely just fibromyalgia on its own. And that saying, that one that really hurts, maybe you've heard it too, but you don't look ill. And that's the thing about fibromyalgia. It's what they call an invisible illness. From the outside, you have no idea. And that's what can make it incredibly isolating and lonely. Because you're fighting something every single day that the world just can't see. Even those ones that are around you who love you just don't realise how bad it can be. So how does this actually show up in my life? Because I think that's where it gets real. The pain is there all the time, but for me particularly worse in the mornings. It takes me a good half hour after taking my medication to be able to do simple tasks like go to the toilet, and getting dressed takes even longer. Doing certain activities like holding scissors for quilling or sitting at the craft desk for too long can trigger a flare. I really have to balance everything. The fatigue, paired with iron deficiency to the point where I am severely anemic, it affects how many videos I can do in a day. It affects my day-to-day life, and it also affects my creativity time. I need them energy levels and that reduced pain in my hands to be able to do the things that I enjoy. So I have to take this on a day-to-day basis, which is why being consistent is such a big problem for me, being a content creator. I try my best to upload everything on a Friday. Some weeks I have to miss it. I've just not got the energy. Plus, being a single parent to children with special needs really takes its toll on the way that I feel. The fibro fog. Well, this can be comedic as well as a problem. It shows up to the point where I have to laugh about it. I forget things, I put things down, can't find them, putting things in the wrong cupboard, even putting stupid things in the fridge. You name it, I've lost it. But it also affects the videos that I do. I spend hours editing, and that's because I'm having conversations with myself throughout the video about how stupid I am, what I've forgot, where is this, where is that, where have I put that down, so I can continue making the video. Not to mention the fact of how many times I've left my microphone unplugged whilst doing a video. Remembering the ideas that I have to have my phone with me at all times. Because if I've got an idea, I need to write it down. I cannot remember that. I'd love to be able to do that, but it doesn't happen. And the ADHD really goes crazy. And with my ADHD, I internalise pretty much everything, which causes me the issues. Let's have a look. Looking good. It's not all black, which is good. It does look like it's burnt in, although we can add some extra burnt in goodness afterwards. Oh, don't do that. Yay! That looks pretty good. I've add some more detail to this as well. I'm actually going to put some burn marks on it, in fact. So these are the same paints, just different ones. I'm just going to put a... Yeah, so we can get some burn marks. I think I might use this for actual burning some around the letters. Let's just give that a... Let's do it on burning sensation. Whoop, that went white. Why? Is that because of the Mod Podge, maybe? That might be because of the Mod Podge. It's giving it a good effect, but it's more yellowing rather than browning. Yeah, I think it's burning like the top layer. Not sure if you can see that on camera or not. It's gone slightly more yellow than what I was thinking. If I leave it on long enough, it will get rid of that Mod Podge that's over it. There we go, and it's just getting to the underneath now, where it's burning. Thinking I probably could do with a mask on. It might actually work out better me doing paint, because this is actually warping it. I might just go in with some lighter colour of paint and leave it on. I'm just holding this down so it tries to set back to where it should be. So what have I learnt from being diagnosed with fibromyalgia? The big lesson for me was learning how to pace yourself. And easier said than done, but trying not to push through on bad days. Deal with what you have to deal with. Choose your battles wisely. Deal with what really matters and prioritise what is important. Learning to love myself. Sleep routine. Fibromyalgia is heavily affected by poor sleep, and having teenage children who don't want to go to bed early can really have a problem for me. So it's not just about trying to get me to bed on time, it's also getting them to bed on time. But I've noticed that when we go to bed at a good time, the next day and the day after, my symptoms are slightly reduced. If I have no sleep, whether that be from children issues, cramps through the night, which is one of the other major problems I have with my fibromyalgia, the restless leg syndrome, the cramps in my calves, the cramps in my hips. And I'm not just talking, oh, it's a little bit sore or, a spasm or something like that. It goes full pelt pain in my calf, tensed up, the back of my leg tensed up. You have to stand up and stretch. You have to do stretches while you lay in bed. And that is relentless. It is such a problem when you need sleep already. I've often likened fibromyalgia to swimming in treacle. You feel like you might get somewhere, but when you're swimming against it all the time, it becomes absolutely exhausting. Crafting, that has really helped with being mindful and doing repetitive tasks, simple things that don't cause pain, help reduce perception of the pain that I already have. It just gives my brain something else to focus on. Having heat on areas that are sore, that definitely does help. I cannot tolerate any kind of cold or wet. When it rains, there's certain types of rain, it feels that it's acid dropping on my skin. It's so painful. And the kids know now, they say, "Mum, that's the rain that's going to hurt you." They know which type of rain it is. And that probably sounds really silly to a lot of people, but if you know, you know. Probably need quite a bit for this one. So I'm going to start off with clear UV resin. Little spoon to put that in. I'm going to go for that for now. Now I've got that reasonably mixed in, I'm going to go ahead and use the micro shimmer powder that we used earlier. And I don't know how much of this I'm going to need just yet, so I am going to put a little bit in at a time. Well, a little bit, quite a lot come out there. And I'm just going to keep this really good stir. And what this one does is actually add a bit of white to it in a way, but it also has a really nice shimmer. It does have a purple tint to it when you use it, and I think this is turning out to be the perfect colour. I'm going to check this against the symbol in a bit and just make sure they are similar. I'm not after perfect mix, I'm after something similar, and I also wanted this kind of pearlescent effect, which is why I'm using the mica powders. So I don't think we're going to need any more of this. So, got that mixed up. And I'm thinking we go ahead and do one of these butterflies, because I do want a larger one with this kind of in pattern on it. I also want a couple of these smaller ones. So I'm going to do This one, and this one, they're my three favourites. I do want to add one with glitter. I was thinking of going for this look, which I may still do. I might do another one of these. I'll just add this to the final design. I'm not sure yet. But I really love this kind of colour. And I think that is more me, the way I like things. So that one probably will be included in the final piece. Maybe just representing me amongst these fibro issues. So, but let's get these poured. I'm just going to give it a bit of a swirl first in this, so that it comes out the way it wants to. And with this, you don't want to stir it too much because it does have a lot of bubbles if you stir it too much with too much mica powder in. These ones are very shallow designs, but I only want to put a very thin layer down because it does take a while to cure. Let that spread out a bit and then we'll carry on. Let it do its own thing. This one I'm just going to pour right in the middle, and again I only want a very thin layer, so I'm just going to leave that to do its own thing in there and just settle down into all the grooves. This one I'm going to pour from the middle and let it go out. This one I want to add glitter to. If you're considering these bottles are very tiny, you get quite a lot in there. I've used this a couple of times now and it still looks like a full bottle. Don't want this to go into any of the other pieces, but it's not always that simple. Glitter generally goes where it wants to. This isn't a fine glitter, so we shouldn't have too many problems, but it does happen. So I'm just going to take some of this out. These are just pipettes that you can get from Amazon and Temu. I'll put a link in the description for some. Anybody that does buy through the links that I put in the description helps me, not just get an affiliate commission. That's not really what I'm after at this moment in time, but I'm having to reapply for Amazon Associates every 3 months because I never meet the 3 sales every 90 days to qualify for it. So if you are going to be purchasing anything from Amazon, it doesn't have to be the items in my description, but if you go via the items in my description, that will then lead to a sale of whichever product you bought, and then that will actually open the doors for me to be part of the affiliate program, and therefore if anybody buys something in the future I can qualify for purchases and not have to reapply all the time. So I'd be really grateful. I think we've took enough out there, so I'm going to put this one in first anyway, and then I'm going to work on getting this one filled in whilst it's going, and I'm just putting that in for 5 minutes. And yeah, I am going all the way down to the base of the butterfly. The good thing about these is they've got a rounded tip, which is why I prefer to use these over toothpicks. Right, with this one, good thing about this mica powder is it sort of has a two-tone effect. So with this one being a bit bigger, what I'm going to do is see, I've never done this, so I just want to see how this looks. I'm going to do a swirl and see if it actually holds a swirl pattern. Whether it works or not, we will find out soon. And then in the middle, I just want it to sort of have a definite like up and down, like a vertical pattern of some kind. And we'll get them in the machine. Again, just for the first cure, I'm going to do 5 minutes while we're working on this next piece. And again, we're just doing a layer. We'll let that do its thing. So that's nice and spread. Now I'm just going to check on these ones. I'm not feeling any problems with them, so let's get them off, top them up, and we'll put this one under to cure. Just give that a minute to settle because I moved it. Why is this leaking again? I'm sure I must let it dribble out the side. So what's the reason why I jumped at this chance to do a collaboration with these two wonderful creators? The reason is simple. When I was trying to figure out what was going on with my body, before I even had a name for it, I was on YouTube looking for people who got it. People who could tell me what it actually felt like, not just the medical definition, the real version. And I think there's a lot of people out there, maybe you're watching this right now, who are either newly diagnosed, still trying to get diagnosed, or just exhausted by trying to explain to the people around you what fibromyalgia actually is. So if this is you, I see you. and I hope this has helped, even just a little bit. Right, let's have a look at this one. This was the glitter one. Well, them swirls have definitely come out. Right, I'm going to be playing about with that technique. In fact, that's the first time I've tried that, but I might give that another go with some other ways of doing it. Really happy with that one. I'm definitely going to be having a play with that. But what I'm planning on doing is giving that a sand over and then giving it a clear coat. But I'm thinking of adding a little bit of glitter or something or shimmer to the clear coat. I'm going to get this sanded off first and then we'll see how we go afterwards. So I'm taking some glitter in the colour lavender and some UV clear resin, and I'm just going to mix that into one of these little pots, and I'm going to attempt, again, at coating this without it dribbling all over and becoming a complete disaster. Definitely helps having a level surface. Some of the troubles I had with coating and doming would have been much easier if I had a level table at the time. You can see some of them disasters in the card that I'm posting up above. Also had a bit of a milestone recently. My channel is now fully monetised. Plenty of different ways you can support me. Watching my videos is the main thing. Liking and subscribing is also another. If you wish to buy something from Amazon, have a look if I've got any links. If not, try and buy it via my link. Whatever you buy will go towards a small commission to the channel. And I put everything back into the channel by buying new supplies and reviewing things for you guys. So I've gone right up to the edge with that, and what I've noticed is it's pulling back inwards, which basically means, from what I've learnt recently, that you've not got enough liquid on. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on there and just take it back up to the edge. Don't want it dribbling down the sides. I don't want to have to clear up any extra mess than I need to in these projects. Once you start sanding, you start losing the effects that you've worked hard to achieve. I'm just going to leave that to sit for a little minute, make sure it's not being pulled back in. But you can see how glossy it is now. And rather than taking this to the machine, I'm actually going to bring the machine to that, just so it doesn't spill or tip. I'm only going to cure it for a small amount of time. Right, let's have a look at what we've got. And we've got a nice glossy finish on there. And it's hard, and it's not leaked over the edges. It's my first attempt, and it's worked. First attempt on this. I've got plenty of failed attempts on other videos of trying to cover something. Yeah, quite happy with that. Got a bit of sparkle in there, but not too much sparkle. Now for the ribbons, I'm going to start with clear coat of UV resin, and I'm going to do all three of these just to make sure that I'm going to get at least one that I'm happy with. My idea is, if I do a bit in each of the areas, then spread it around right into those corners at the bottom, it might then just catch everywhere that I need it to catch. I don't want to put too much in there either, because it is only curable for one side, which is one of the reasons why I'm putting clear in first, because I want to make sure it is all covered in all the corners and it's cured all the way through as well. And then whilst this is curing, we can mix up the actual colour that we want, and if there's any glitters and things like that we want to put in, we can do that as well. Right, I'm going to cure that up in place. So up to now I've had the clear resin, some of this lavender kind of glitter, and also this purple pigment. And then to that I'm going to add this mica powder. It's not big enough for now. I'm just wondering if they might turn out a bit too pink. We may need to have a bit of blue in there. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of blue in there as well. I'm going to take this off camera and give it a good mix. But I think this is going to turn out so pretty. I really do like this colour. So these should be all cured. I'm not going to move them because I know they've had long enough and they're in a clear coating. So I'm going to pour this, but I'm only going to pour as much as it needs to be covered all over. And yeah, I deal with the pain, the fatigue, all the other symptoms. But the main thing that really hurts, and it's not a physical pain, it's an emotional pain. I don't have the luxury of being able to go out and do things like other people do. Therefore, I don't really have a social life. I meet with family, but having a friendship outside of the house has caused me quite a lot of heartache in the past. Until I started YouTube. I've met some beautiful, lovely people via YouTube, and I appreciate everyone who has been supportive of me setting up this new channel. I honestly never thought that meeting people online via YouTube would turn into such great friendships. They're meaningful to me, and I appreciate every single one of you. You know who you are. So let's stop making people feel lonely. Spreading this little bit of awareness around. You might not understand everything about fibromyalgia, but at least you got an idea of what things are to support somebody with an invisible illness. And that doesn't just mean fibromyalgia. There are plenty of other invisible illnesses out there, and it's always good to try and keep your ideas open and just listen to the person who's dealing with them on a daily basis. So that's 3 layers. I'm going to need another one to finish it off. Now let's get that under the lamp. Again, I'm going to do 5 minutes just to make sure I've had as much time as possible to cure. Okay, that one's finished that round. Right, let's see if we can get the next layer to be the last layer. I'm not sure. Right, that's how it's 5 minutes. So let's demold these and see if it actually is work this time. Fingers crossed. Please. Are you going to work? If we can get it off. It's not wanting to come off easy. There we go. That's better. Now it hasn't fully cured underneath, which I'm quite surprised about, so I'm just going to pop that back under the lamp. I'm surprised about because it was clear resin that was at the bottom. And I'm not sure why it's not cured all the way through. So if I'd have put coloured resin at the bottom, it definitely wouldn't have cured. So even if we get 1, maybe 2 of these, it'd be really good. Same with that one. It's not fully cured at the top, but we'll pop that back under. So I've got a little bit of this resin left. It's not going to be enough to do one of these, so I'm just going to fill these arts up and then get them cured. Hearts are always necessary with majority of projects, and with fibromyalgia you need people around you who love you, and you need to also learn to love yourself. That took a long time for me to figure that out, but I got there in the end. I'm going to get these cured. We've had enough time under there now. I think we've done enough to be able to pop the next bit on. Let's fill that right up to the top. I'm going to put it on for the 5 minutes this time. So in these pots I've mixed some UV clear resin and these pigments as well. So that's one. These are mica powders that I'm using in these three. This is an opaque mould. So we need to make sure we're doing it in thin layers because I'm using UV resin. If obviously you're using epoxy resin, you won't need to do this step. It's just a matter of pouring it and leaving it to cure. But UV doesn't like deep pours. So I just want to make sure I've got it all coated all the way around with a thin layer. And then I'm just going to use cocktail stick just to make sure it is going in that area as well. And I'm just going around the edges because this is where I find a lot of bubbles rest on UV resin. And what I want to do is just top this up now. It may need a third layer, but we'll see how thick this layer needs to be. I'm going to get some of this glitter in this big one. Maybe I should have mixed it in with the black before pouring it in. Ah, what am I doing? It's going everywhere. Don't want it in. Oh. I think I'm just making matters worse here. Let's move that around once the resin's in, I think. So I'm using the Let's Resin Black on the top of this. I don't know what is going to stick to this, so I'm going to leave it for a minute or two just for the resin to soak into the layer. Can't believe I've got it everywhere apart from where I needed it to be. I'm actually seeing a shimmer of green in there as well. And this may take a while to cure. It might not even cure at all. Could have put way too much in. But we'll see. And we need some black to go on this one. If I could have got these in a clear mould, I would have preferred that, especially with UV resin. But this is the only choice that I had. That's turned out pretty. And cute little hearts, although they do look more pink than purple. That one we had an accident with. Let's see how this one turned out. Oh, look at that. It has got green in it, but there's a lot of purple in there as well. Really like that one, but it's definitely got green in there. So this one's to symbolise me on a good day. I've got a nice glossy coat, I've got glitter everywhere, I'm a full beautiful butterfly, a maple stew, all the things that a butterfly can do, fly around, all the rest of it. And then we have some others that are sort of like the darker side of Fibro with the black at the back. You're sort of disguising it all with the glitter on the top, but underneath you're feeling it. So they're like when you're in social situations and you're trying not to show how much pain you're in. And then we have these swirly ones where everything's a bit of a mess and a bit of a blur and you don't know where everything is, and those are the days when you stay in and just try and sort how you feel out. So yeah, there are different ways of looking at Fibro, and we'll move on with the project and you get a better idea of what I'm going to do when I start putting it all together. So where are we up to? We've laid out basically what I'm probably going to be using. I'm probably only going to be using 2 of these. These do need a bit of a clean up and taking some rough edges off them, but I'm going to choose the 2 that I like the most. Right, we had some hearts to demould in this lovely colour that we made. Look at that. I don't know if you can see on the camera all the different purples that are in there. And I had made some other hearts from other moulds. I may include those in this as well, but I'm going to have a look what's suitable. If there is anything there that I can use, then I'll put this in this project as well. We all need a bit of love, But most importantly, we need to be able to love ourselves. Right, so I'm definitely going to be having two. Just going to put that to one side now, for now, just to get an idea of what I'm doing. That heart needs cleaning up. Yeah, I think we need a few more hearts in different colours, different tones. I'm just wondering whether I want to stick with this purple green. Because we have got the purple bows on there. And I really do like this, so I'm going to keep this on. Yeah, making a definite decision. I'm leaving it on. And I know you guys can't see the purple as good as I can. But there is definitely, there you go. It's more purple in certain lights and green in other lights. Hope you can see that. It's just when it's laid flat on the desk, it really does look green on the camera. Right. Next stage of the project. Now, I did want to put lines all over this, but with me not having much time left, and because this woodworking tool isn't as easy to use as I thought it would be, I'm going to just do some marks on the outside, just to sort of represent like the cracks showing through. Can't go too over the top because of how much time I haven't got. But I'm just hoping I might get that kind of cracked look. I still want that burnt kind of... I want more of that burnt look. And because it's got the Mod Podge on the top, I'm having to burn through the Mod Podge into the wood. And yep, I just burnt my mat again. So I'm literally doing random marks just to show the cracks coming through. For any wood burners out there, is there a mat that you can use safely without it burning through? Because this cutting mat that I have is obviously not the right one. Silicone mats are obviously not the right ones. I'm just wondering if there's an actual mat that you're supposed to use. Because anytime I slip off by accident, it's obviously burning the cutting mat, and although I don't mind it getting damaged, I don't want it to sort of be damaged unnecessarily. Not as much as I'd like to have had some of these on, but for what time I've got left and what I've got time to accomplish things, I mean, I would have liked to have gone across the full thing, and I maybe might do at some point, but for now it's just giving a representation of that electric pain that shoots through your body, and also that it's ingrained into you of what you're going to be feeling for the rest of your life. Anywhere else I want to go before I put it away? Maybe a bit coming off this one. Yeah, I'm okay with that now. I'm going to unplug this and let it cool down. That's not good. The ends are actually bending. This one was actually a straight tip. This is the piece that I want to put on in the middle, and it says, just because you see a smile on my face doesn't mean I'm not in pain. It means that I'm not willing to let my fibromyalgia steal my life. And I found this on Temu a while ago. I'd been waiting for the project to do it on, and I think this is a pretty good place to put it. So I am running out of time, so I'm not going to spend too long trying to line this up and all the rest of it like I normally would do. I'm going to pretty much eyeball it. So let's see how good those skills are. You know what? I'm probably not going to be happy with this. I didn't take the time to do it, but like I said, I'm running out of time. So I want to just get this stuck down best I can for the time I've got left to do this and hand it in, because this is the night before it's due to go on the collaboration. Yeah, it took me this long to get it done. Right, let me get something to rub that down with. I just realised I've done something really stupid with down here, putting these here because I need to put some holes and I don't know if they're exactly where they're going to land. Let me get the bits that I need of what I'm going to put in place and where. Now, because I'm sticking these to the piece of wood and it's quite shiny on the back, just to give it a bit of adhesion, just to give it a bit of something to cling on to, I'm going to sand up the back of these so I can stick them on. I'm just going to be doing that by scuffing up the back of them, just by rubbing it for a little bit of time. Thingy, just to give it a bit of adhesion, space, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it. Just for something for it to grab hold onto with the glue to stop it falling off. So I'm going to get on with them off screen and I'll be back with you soon. So I've scuffed the back of them. But I've also scuffed the back of the ones that I actually want to use for dangling. But luckily it's going to be up against a wall, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But this is the layout that I'm thinking of going for. Now, there is a couple of butterflies that I've not made it in. I don't think we're going to have enough room for a couple of them. Don't want them bows too close together. And I have actually got something in mind for this area, which I will show you in a few minutes. Wonder if it would work not having them straight. I'm not after complete symmetry, I'm just after something that sort of works. I may even stick a couple more hearts on from a different project that I've done. But the butterflies, butterflies and ribbons, I think we've got enough on there. So I think more hearts, and also this. Now, you've not seen this, and I've also not put it in the video because I edited the footage and everything and then it all got messed up under multicam settings and I can't figure it out. So this is what I have made that you've not seen yet, and I'm quite proud of this. This is made out of resin, UV resin and paper, and I find it absolutely beautiful. And yeah, took a lot of hard work and patience, and I will be posting that video as well as some of the other videos. So if you like this and you want to see it in more detail of how it was achieved, then obviously go and click subscribe and click that notification button, and as soon as that video is uploaded you will be notified of it. and I think he belongs there. I want some kind of 3D-ness to it, which is why I think this will look really pretty. I may in future put a few other paper butterflies on, but I'll show that again. If I update it at all in the future, I will show that on my channel as well, showing you anything that I've changed. I want to do this and the actual hanger out of metal, representing the chains of what is holding us together and stopping us from doing certain things. It's not that you can't do anything, it's that you have to adapt your life around this illness and come up with how to do things in a different way. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed in this video. It doesn't stop you doing everything, but it does hinder you. It's not always possible to do everything. Right, so I'm going to get them stuck on. I'm going to drill some holes for these, and when I'm putting it all together you'll be able to see it. I was getting the last bit of my supplies ready and realised I don't have any chain for the butterflies to dangle from. So I'm going to have to adapt it a bit. I do plan on adding the chain in the future, at a future time. But I just want to get something finished tonight so that I can get it posted for you guys. And these I got in a kit. So I'm going to use this. This is just a cord necklace. I'm going to use this as the hanger that goes across for now. And for the bottom, the only thing I've actually got that would work, I've got stiff wire and jewellery wire, but I think the nylon thread would actually probably work better. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and use that. I've got my hot glue gun ready. It needs warming up, but we'll do that in a sec. Got some jump rings ready. I need to drill some holes in here. Gonna have to attach it just with the nylon thread, I think. Let's get gluing. I've decided, because of how clumsy I am, to put my finger doms on. I think it was that way. Honestly can't remember. I actually quite like it how it's following the circle. Probably do the same with that one. Definitely a must have, these finger doms. Now I've really confused myself by putting things upside down. All these tools that I'm using today will be linked in the description. I also have the unboxing and the reviews about them on my channel. So if you're interested in any of the tools that I'm using, all the details are there in the description, but also the actual reviews on my channel. And compared to other glue guns I've used, this one's leaving hardly any of those little spider webby things it does. Was that there? I think it was. So the idea is obviously that we've got this beneath area of fibromyalgia on the plaque, and the conditions or the fibromyalgia symptoms that are burnt into us, and then we cover it all up with a pretty smile just so nobody can tell the amount of pain that we're in. And we'll get the holes drilled. These are great. I'll put a link for these in the description as well. Now I don't know how much of this I'm going to need, but I'm going to give myself plenty of extra so that if I need to, I can just chop it rather than having to mess about measuring it all. But I am going to measure each piece against each other, even though there's going to be a difference in the height of where they're going to be. I think if I just start off with a similar size, it doesn't have to be exact, because I am going to cut them. But if they're close, it just helps. All my nylon strings there that I need, and I'm going to start threading these through. Like I said, this is just a temporary measure till I get some chain. I'll be back with you soon. So I've got all them threaded in there, and I want to start with the middle one because I want to get a length that I'm happy with for the middle one first, and then I can go off the rest of them as we go. So I've tied them all up at the bottom, and this nylon string doesn't like staying where it's supposed to stay. I've tied it as tight as I can, but it still keeps coming loose. So what I'm going to do is flip it over onto the back. And yes, this was another project that I was trying, but it didn't work out. Maybe just a bit of sellotape just to hold it in place. Right, don't think that's helps much, but hopefully it'll keep it in place until I get the chains. So it is a temporary fix. Let's have a look at getting this on. Like I said, this is a temporary fix. I'm not even sure if this is going to go through that hole. Very much doubt it. Looking at it. Could open the split ring. Easier said than done. Give that a second to dry. Okay, that's pretty much dry. Let's turn it over. I think it'll look a lot better when we have the chains on, but that'll do for now. So that's where we're up to. Now, just need to stick that butterfly on. Just give that a few minutes to dry, and I think we're done. We can go and hang it and see how it looks. I'm just wondering to put a bit of sparkle on it. It's not very sparkly on the actual thing. Yeah, I've got to have sparkle. If it's to do with me, I've got to have sparkle. So I've got some large crystal gems and some small crystal gems. I'm just going to put a few of these on. And go for the little ones. This sort of represents us putting that mask on that we wear. Everything seems okay on the outside, but inside, not so much. Much better. Like a bit of sparkle. Yeah, I think that's good. Right, we're done. Next you get to see it on the wall. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, whether you live with fibromyalgia yourself or you know somebody who does. What's one thing you wish more people would understand about it? And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. It genuinely does help more people find it. I've got videos coming out in the next few weeks of me breaking down some of the tasks that I did in this project. And so if you'd like to learn how I did those in a bit more detail, please make sure you're liking and subscribing and ringing that notification bell so that you don't miss out on my future videos. I hope this video has been useful today, and I hope you like the project that I made. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!